Now, to make matters worse, Shane's forever fiance Ryland, and if you've been watching my Shane Dawson Podcast series, you all know that wedding was never going to happen, but still. Huh? What? What is this? What? That's funny. Nah. Y'all are playing too much on Beyonce's internet. Let me go see what's going on for myself.
Okay, so your girlies are going back to California tomorrow, and in preparation...
Big news! First piece of big news, I got my voice back! Yeah! Second piece of big news,
Oh my gosh!
we're getting married today!
Ryland and Shane are now officially husband and husband. The forever fiancé is no more. Now we have the secured spouse. And if you thought Ryland was insufferable before, believe me, you ain't seen nothing yet.
Chris, you look like you sell.
Just when you thought the dynamics of the Shane Dawson podcast were getting repetitive, we found out on July 3rd, 2023, Shane Dawson and Ryland Adams were married. This marriage will not quell the fire on that couch. If anything, it will cause an explosion. As we go over episode number 10, which took place 3.5 months before the marriage, we will be going over the interactions between Shane, Ryland, and Chris with new eyes. And boy, is there a lot more to uncover. Be sure to stay tuned until the end where I go over exactly how this marriage will impact the show. You do not want to miss my breakdown. Let's get into it.
Yourself or us?
No, I don't feel very good right now.
Why?
You look great.
Iconic. Jared, I have to say, I know you've worn some great things on the podcast, but this is hands down the best.
Oh my god, wait, we can't be talking about our clothes without playing. Oh, come on. The song, hold on.
Shane is about to play the infamous fashion update song where Ryland's name is missing. Let's all observe how Ryland, who at this point in time had no idea he was about to get married, reacts to Shane happily bouncing to a song that purposely doesn't include him.
Fashion update, what's he wearing? What's the outfit for the day? What's got Jared looking sexy? Why does Chris dress oh so gay? What dumb shirt did Shane buy now? That's why his money's gone away. Fashion update, what's he wearing? What's the outfit for the day? Fashion update, fashion update, fashion update.
Ryland looks great.
Stop.
Thank you, Jared, for including me in a song I wasn't a part of.
So that was part of it. We had it edited. Not a big deal.
Yeah.
This podcast episode aired on September 19th, 2022, roughly 3.5 months before Shane and Ryland's impromptu wedding.
We're getting married today!
I honestly can't believe it.
They already said around this time that the wedding planning had stalled.
Neither of us are prioritizing a wedding because we feel so married already. Like, we're already, like, as married can
And
be.
you're not. Which means to me that Ryland would be at a low point. With no marriage in sight, he passive-aggressively thanks Jared for adding his name to the song. His anger should be directed at Shane, but he chose instead to take a slight dig. The reason is Ryland at this point has zero power. His relationship is in limbo. He wants to push it forward into marriage, but he knows he can't push too hard because he does not want a breakup. Nope. He's worked too hard to get to where he's at. Ryland didn't spend 7 years picking up Shane's pee bottles to be thrown out without anything to show for it. This is what I call auditioning for marriage. It happens with both men and women. There are some who want to get married that they will play a role to get their desired outcome. Some play a role for 2, 5, and in this case, almost 7 years.
I bought a ring this week, not even knowing that we were getting married, so this will be my wedding ring.
I want a divorce.
You don't think it's possible? It is. There are amazing actors out in the world who haven't won an Oscar. Ryland is at the home stretch. He doesn't like that his name wasn't in the fashion update song, but he's not going to make a big deal out of it. At least not yet. We'll come back to this, but for now, let's compare how Shane styled Chris and how he styled Ryland.
Okay, so actually let's start with Chris.
Of course, he'll start with his number one.
Because Chris's is custom. So it might not be real designer, but it is real Etsy lady.
It's called bootleg.
Bootleg?
Yeah, this is all bootleg stuff.
Yes, very bootleg.
But that's custom bootleg.
Oh, yes.
Very luxurious.
So you created the text that didn't exist?
No, so I got a Supreme knockoff shirt that says Bears Only on it.
Wow.
The only one in existence.
Shane's letting us all know how much effort he put into Chris's outfit.
So you created the text that didn't exist?
Ryland's question only highlighted the fact that Shane did the extra work of customizing the name on the shirt. Ryland notices how unique Chris's outfit is. Now watch as Chris hypes up this lame shirt.
This is the best shirt ever. I can keep this, right?
Of course.
Because I need it.
That's not going to make your boyfriend jealous when you're walking around town with him and it says Bears Only?
I mean, I just have to wear it.
Feels like it's welcoming in more.
That's Ryland chiming in, reminding Chris that he's in a monogamous relationship. So why is he so excited to wear a shirt essentially advertising for more suitors? If you have a problem with that shirt, Ryland, talk to the guy who made it. All right. You can't rock the boat. At least, not yet. Let's listen to Chris's response.
No, I don't mean like. Well, now I'm second guessing it. I really liked it.
Unless.
Did you see Shane's face? Yo, he made that shirt for Chris, who's in a relationship that promotes the type of men Chris is attracted to, and then Shane makes that face as if Chris is up to something for wearing it. Look at that face.
I think anyone who doesn't know what a bear is just going to be like, that's kind of weird. Because there's a large portion of the population that has no idea what a bear is.
Yeah, no, Chris is the only bear awareness there is, really. I mean, I've never seen somebody...
Bear awareness. Well, you look beautiful, Chris.
Thank you.
And I remember to give your llama, your alpaca, his own outfit. So, well, maybe she's a she. I'm not sure. It doesn't matter. She's fluid.
In a previous episode, I said that in Shane's eyes, the llama is Chris. So, okay, here we see Shane referred to the llama as a he, then as a she, and then he says the llama is gender fluid. Please remember this because we'll get back to it in another episode.
We got her a fake Fendi outfit.
Jumpsuit.
Oh my God, you know what I just realized? That's a real Louis Vuitton bag.
Is it?
So she's the only person in the room that has anything real on her.
Dang.
Shane gave the llama, aka Chris, a real Louis purse. So what happens next is Jared takes us off track with the fashion update with a story, and then Shane gives a boss tip, and then they promote the merch. All this takes a while for Shane to get back to the fashion. So what we are left with is Chris got priority and received his own segment detailing his clothes, and then everyone else comes in as an afterthought.
Yeah, so my meltdown was because we were all outside doing a photo shoot. Chris's photo shoot went amazing. The bears only. By the way, this is when, remember in the episode where you were like, I don't know if God is real. Did you have a moment when I took a picture of you in your bears only shirt and I didn't even realize until after that there was 2 bears behind you in the picture? That's when you're like, God is real. He did that. Who else could have done that? I didn't do that. You didn't do that. God did that.
What do you mean bears?
There was a little bear, a flower bear, and then a little statue of a bear.
Wow.
And now you guys can't see it, but there's a bear right next to Chris too right now. I mean,
It's true.
surrounded by bears.
3 months before his marriage to Ryland, Shane pushes the idea of a supernatural tie to Chris, believing they have a higher connection. Okay, so Shane made the shirt, Shane took the picture, and Shane finds coincidences and ties it into the spiritual realm. I see what you're doing, Shane. You've hyped up Chris to God-level status. Surely your future husband's fashion update has to at least compare or be better, right?
And then Ryland's picture is very dog mom.
I can't take Shane right now. He has to be trolling. This man dressed his soon-to-be husband, took his pictures, and then compared Ryland to a dog mom. Y'all think I'm joking? Listen again to how he described Chris after looking at his pictures.
God is real. It's very dog mom.
It's clear as day. According to Shane, Chris's picture evokes the truth about God, and Ryland's picture evokes morning walks, picking up poop.
I got very natural paparazzi celebrity. They're just like us shot.
Well, I haven't seen them yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Oh God, here we go.
Well, I'm just saying,
He's gonna
like,
judge them. Oh my God, sorry. I just got an actual email from Gucci.
Shane's so effortless. Do you all see the way he brushes off Ryland as if he's insignificant?
whoa,
Wait, what?
what did you order us?
Oh, never mind. No, it's not. It was another Amazon Gucci product that didn't arrive on time. Anyways,
They mentioned they had a fight before the start of the show, so it's obvious there's lingering resentment going on here. Anyways, next they go on to talk about what they did in the morning, and watch how Chris sneaks in a Shane compliment.
and then me, I just worked out, and that was about it. I didn't really do anything interesting.
You're really good about working out, by the way.
Thank
like, you
you.
seem to like, I don't know. I always want to start, and you always just do it. And it's really motivating, but I can't. I'm really bad at, like, I need to work out.
This is Chris subtly letting Shane know even though he loves bears, he will still be on board even if Shane loses the weight.
It's actually, just so you know, if you want like a good excuse, it's healthier to never start working out than it is to work out and then stop and then start and then stop and then
Is
start and then stop. Yeah, because it's just bad for your muscles to keep getting torn and rejuvenating all the time.
Basically, I'm never going to start working out.
It's
'cause
never bad to
for me.
make it. It's never
And this is also Chris fishing for a compliment. So let's see if Shane takes the bait.
bad to make the effort.
No, your body's great.
Surprise, surprise, Shane takes the bait and gives Chris a compliment. All right, so next we get into a chaotic story about Chris.
But you do have monkeypox, I think. Or no. Or you
If
thought
you have
did.
monkeypox, I hope you're not around me right
I
now.
actually legitimately thought I had monkeypox because, okay, what happened was, like, the last couple days, I've been feeling not well. Like, and I think I mentioned my
Okay.
allergies have not been well, and I've been, like, usually when I take my allergy medication, I'm kind of okay, but it's been really bad recently, and I feel like I can't breathe, and I've woken up in the middle of the night like actually convinced I can't breathe, like just not.
Sorry, I was sitting on your face.
Well, there's a lot of elements.
You all see why I was so shocked Shane and Ryland got married. Shane was wilding out over here.
And I was also feeling itchy and just weird, and I woke up and I looked at my hands as I went to begin editing, and I was like, okay, maybe I got bit by a very aggressive mosquito that just went crazy. I don't know. It was really itchy, and then I went to shower and I took off my shirt, and there were like bumps, 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 and it looked like a horror movie, and I've never seen that on myself before, and I was like, what is happening? And I definitely started panicking, and then I like Googled, what does this mean? And like, what different types of... I know, and like nothing looked like it except for monkeypox. And then I look at the symptom of monkeypox, and I've had all of them, every single one. And so I was like, oh my god, I have every symptom. I have monkeypox. And on top of it, monkeypox are spreading more in the gay community than any other community. They're getting hit harder than anybody.
But you're not sleeping with somebody other than your boyfriend, right?
No, correct.
Ryland is on to you, Chris. He's not with the nonsense. Ryland believes in order for you to seriously think you had monkeypox, you must have been up to something, and so Ryland calls you out directly. What we all have to keep in mind is that Ryland is slyly checking to see if he has to worry about Chris stealing, and I say stealing in quotes because I don't believe you can steal someone away, but he's making sure Chris isn't the type to make a move on Shane.
But I mean, in theory, if it's like spreading like crazy, and even if you were like in a gay club and like skin to skin rubbed on someone,
so
were you in a gay club?
I promise you, me and Ryland said it at the same time. If monkeypox is spread skin to skin, who are you skin to skin with that you got so worried you had it? Chris, I'm not mad at Ryland for digging deeper.
I wasn't. I thought about it, but I'm just being paranoid is the point.
Uh-oh, Chris. Uh-oh. Something's wrong if even Shane is giving you the side eye. But you know what? I'm not like that. I'm going to take you at your word. I believe you weren't up to anything. I believe you're just being paranoid.
And so then I'm like, okay, I haven't been feeling well, and I'm itchy, and I have bumps, and it's like a horror movie, and I just spiraled, and I was like, I need to go to the doctor. I need to make... And also I was like, if I have monkeypox, the worst... I would never forgive myself if I gave everybody here monkeypox. So I was like, well, yeah. So I went to the hospital to make sure I did not have monkeypox, and they seemed scared. The nurse was like, didn't want to touch me, and she was like, "Oh, where do you not have bumps so I can put a thing?"
Well, if you're running in saying I have monkeypox,
I didn't say that.
Really?
I didn't mention it at all.
Wow.
Whew. Calm down, Ryland. Take a breath. Relax.
I went in and she's like, "Oh, why are you here?" And I was like, "I haven't been feeling well and I have these on my hand." She's like, "Oh, what are those?" And I was like, I don't know. And then she was asking me all these questions. She's like, "Have you been intimate with anyone recently?" And I'm like, "Yes, I'm in a relationship." She's like, "Male or female?" I'm like, "Male." She's like, "Oh, it's spreading worse in the gay community." And I was like, oh no. And I texted Shane this. I went in the waiting room for what felt like forever, and then the doctor came in and was like, "I need to take pictures," and she was taking pictures of all my bumps.
Ooh,
and like
sounds like us earlier.
Examining my
Sorry.
body.
I'm not trying to make jokes. I make jokes when I feel bad for you.
We both make jokes when it's uncomfortable.
There's that little connection thing they have going on. We'll get way into it in the next episode, though.
But yeah, so that she was like, okay, it's not monkeypox. I had recently gone for a bachelor party to Big Bear with friends. We all went in a jacuzzi, and she's like, "This looks like you went in a jacuzzi and your hair follicles are like infected or something." I don't know, whatever. Basically, because of the jacuzzi in Big Bear, I now have my hair follicles are.
Yikes! Are you gonna tell the Airbnb lady?
So wait, who is in the hot tub?
Yeah.
Important question.
Yeah. Thanks for.
How many gay guys were in that hot tub?
Glad it was.
Ryland has no chill. He's coming for your neck, Chris. He doesn't believe you.
Wasn't monkeypox.
So
but who was it? Just you?
I was the only gay person Ryland asked.
Here's what I will say. I knew it wasn't monkeypox because that I just knew. Like I usually like I saw it and I was like, okay, it's probably an allergic reaction. I knew it wasn't monkeypox, and I felt bad for you because I know how it feels to think that you have something and then convince yourself you have something, and now you are, have monkeypox.
Kudos to Shane for keeping a level head when Chris texted him with the pics of his condition. It's always good to have someone that can calm you down when you're riled up. At least that way, wait a second. Why didn't Chris just text or call his boyfriend? Why is he bothering Shane? Okay, whatever. But now we're going to watch how Shane does a number on Chris. He and Ryland talk about their STD scares. Listen closely.
It's kind of an interesting thing that me and you both share, which is we both are slight hypochondriacs, think that we have a lot of things going on, or like think we might be dying, we might have cancer, we might have a heart attack. I also stopped Googling symptoms when I get sick and stuff, because every time I would Google it, it would come up as like some insane like STD, which would then make me question everything. And then it would make me look over at you. And then I'd start going through my head being like, did he really go to Trader Joe's? Did he really go to the core yoga? Yes. Oh, STDs. So yes, I always think it's an STD, and then it turns out to just be chub rub in a different place. Anyways, have you ever had any histories with STDs?
Woo! I've had a lot of scares in my day. Yeah. And it's dark when you have to like run to the clinic and you're like, oh my gosh, praying.
Run to the clinic?
Waiting for the results. It's the worst 4 days of your life.
Damn, you. Nice, dude.
So then neither of us had STDs. I started trusting you again, even though now I don't, because you just said you used to fucking run to the STD testing place multiple times.
Yeah, we've talked about my grinder days. This was before you.
That's so crazy. I saved you from monkeypox. Because if you weren't with me, you would 100% have monkeypox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not.
Wow, that was very open and vulnerable of you.
Yeah.
Oh, Chris, have you ever had an STD scare?
Today?
Oh yeah, I guess I didn't need to ask that.
Remember, the question is, have you had an STD scare?
I'm always scared about it all the time. I'm just paranoid. Like I'm paranoid if I like sit in a public toilet. I'm like, I have all the STDs.
Why would
Like,
you sit on a public toilet?
Like,
For real, like who does that? But especially, okay, Chris, and especially too, if you are a paranoid kind of person.
clean it and put all the paper and stuff, but you never know. I'm just scared about it all the time, and like all the time. And I have had one STD.
You see how Chris continues to be the fall guy for this podcast? Everybody on that show talked about having an STD scare. And here comes Chris talking about how he caught an STD. Why? Why did you have to say that? Nobody else said they had an STD. And who knows if they're speaking the truth or not, right? But you had to come out and say, but why, Chris? Why? Because now I'm starting to think Chris just loves to talk about himself. This takes me back to when they all had that discussion about addictions. And Shane said his addiction is work. And Chris basically confessed to being, well, you all remember what happened.
That's how I found out I was cheated on.
What was it?
Chlamydia.
Should we kill him?
Ooh, that.
Okay, you need to calm all the way down, Ryland. And you know what? Don't think Ryland is really saying that for Chris's benefit, more so than he's saying it for his own. Because Ryland is letting Chris know that to him, cheating equals death. That's Ryland warning Chris not to touch Shane.
It's a bad one, huh?
Can we kill him? I have some
At the
rage.
doctor's office, the doctor said you have this, so inform any partners. I'm like, I've only been with one person for years. And then the doctor like went from very cold and clinical to, oh, I'm so sorry. And then I started crying. Like actually crying. And yeah, that's how I found out. Yeah.
Wait, what do you mean?
Yeah, that's how I found out I got cheated on. I got, the doctor said that, and I remember just asking like a million questions, like how can you get the STD? And he was like, oh, intercourse. And I'm like, okay, but how else? And he's like, no, that's it. And I'm like, surely there's some other way. And he's like, no. And I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense.
He's like, no, there's
And
not.
so-
and my name's not Shirley.
What are the next steps with chlamydia and the relationship?
Chlamydia is much easier than the relationship.
Whoa. Okay. Not
The
to-
relationships are harder pill to swallow.
You did it. I was going to say
That's
not,
a good one.
Not to make a joke because I don't want to be like, whatever. But like, yeah.
I noticed for the last couple of episodes after the group was called out for laughing at Chris's experiences that Shane makes a concerted effort to not joke about the serious topics Chris brings up. I believe he's phony, but he did change the tone of the podcast whenever Chris is talking. So we usually don't see a laugh fest compared to what we did in the first couple of episodes.
That's merch.
So chlamydia is curable, though.
Yeah, you just take a pill.
Ryland, the amount of times you said you went to the clinic, okay? Everybody learned about STDs in gym class. Cut it out.
Oh, I didn't know if it's something that comes because there's some things.
Acting like he doesn't know what it is.
Oh, please. Is it herpes? That
Acting like
can
he's some
flare up?
connoisseur of STDs earlier. Oh,
herpes.
many scares.
Yeah, good on Shane and Jared for calling him out. Because that was ridiculous.
Herpes is forever. Yes.
Wait.
Herpes is reoccurring.
Wait, so, okay, sorry. Okay, keep going. So you found out.
It's the only STD I ever had, for the record.
Record, Chris, there is no record. You are not in court. Why are you continually confessing to things you don't have to confess to?
And I was
And it wasn't even
cleaned
your
of it.
fault.
That-
That is so
criminal.
horrible.
And that's the frustrating thing is like I've never been someone who hooks up with people. I've always been in like I've only been in a couple long-term relationships, and like I don't like hookups. I'm very scared of STDs. I'm very careful. Like I use condoms. Like I'm very like
Condoms and long-term relationships does not mean you will be 100% protected from STDs. So even if you did all of that stuff, that doesn't mean anything.
I don't know. So it's very upsetting that
How long did you feel whatever sensation was causing you to think I should go to the doctor? Like a burning sensation?
burning. I remembered my balls specifically.
And did you tell your boyfriend at the time, like, oh, I have these symptoms, and they just looked at you?
Like, what would he say?
I don't know, but after the fact, after finding out and after confronting my ex, he was like, I remember I said, I have chlamydia, you cheated on
Did
me.
you tell him that day?
What was
Like
the-
right
yeah.
after the hospital?
Wait,
Right
wait,
after.
okay, yeah, keep going.
Right after the hospital, I went home and told him, like, I have chlamydia, you cheated on me.
I mean, I can't believe you didn't call the motherfucker on the way home. I'd be screaming from the clinic.
I wanted to be face to face. I wanted
Right.
to confront him.
Smart
And
move.
That's
Smart
like-
move.
sorry.
Pro tip.
and
That's
I
iconic.
I wanted to
When
like,
you said that.
but I also wanted to see like you can tell a lot in someone's eyes when you say something, right? So
Okay.
I wanted to see his reaction,
I believe you wanted to give him the chance to lie to you.
and he gave like an Oscar-winning performance where he was like, "Wow, I don't know how this happened, but we're gonna get to the bottom of it."
See what I mean? Because how could a performance outweigh science? You wanted him to lie to you. You wanted him to make you feel good about staying with him.
Ooh.
And I was like, "What? There's."
It's like, oh, there was definitely
When
a
you-
bottom involved.
When you
I'm like, there's literally no other way.
when you found out the truth, or when you got validation, how did you not murder him?
It took months, a couple months at least,
Well-
a few months to find out the truth.
Don't be in denial, Chris. You found out the truth the day you spoke with your doctor and he told you you had an STD.
You believed
saying it's-
this Oscar performance where you were like, oh,
Yes.
okay, so you believed it. So my next question is, what was the span of time in between you finding out you got the fucking clap or whatever they call that
Whoa.
one,
Yeah.
and you break up with this guy? Like, how long did it linger on and all that? And when was, like Ryland saying, the moment that you thought, okay, clarity, I got cheated on, I need to get the fuck out of here, you know?
I bet you the time span was 1,000,000 years.
Well, it was a very long, messy process. It was several months.
It took him several months to believe science. This is a lesson to us all on how strong denial can be.
And it was, the more I thought about it, there was just zero other option. Like, I had not been intimate with anybody else. There's just literally no other possible
Being
way.
literally gaslit for
Was
months.
there options
Yeah.
that you thought were feasible because you were just, in denial?
No, I couldn't think of another option, but I just believed him.
In order to come out of this kind of mindset, we have to be honest with ourselves. What Chris still can't admit to is he knew his boyfriend was lying to him. Chris pretended to believe the lies. He knew his boyfriend was cheating. It may be hard to understand, but if we were to watch the scene play out, we would see Chris confronting his boyfriend, yelling, being distraught, to show how emotional he is in hopes that his boyfriend would never cheat again.
Wow.
But there was no other option. And that made me like doubt myself and feel actually insane.
Okay, so you ended up getting out of it though, right? I'm sure that was like a lot of time, and it felt like tearing the fabric of your life and whatnot, right?
Yeah, it was the most painful thing I've probably ever been through. We went to therapy together to try to figure things out because I now had so many trust issues and even more, more than I already had. And through therapy, like he continued to lie to the therapist and saying I had never cheated and all this stuff.
So I think Chris is saying when he finally came to the conclusion that his boyfriend did cheat on him, even though his boyfriend continued to deny it, Chris decided to go to therapy with him. Okay.
And then months later, one day I come home and he's like sat on the couch and was like, I need to tell you something. Finally admitted.
Why? What
And
made
how
him
did you
finally
not kill
admit it?
him?
I mean, I
That's
loved
every question you've asked.
Well, how did you not kill him?
That's a fair.
And how did you stay
Don't
with
cheat
him
on Ryland.
afterwards?
Oh, that's funny. Shane picked up exactly what Ryland was throwing down because I was saying Ryland was warning Chris. But really, Shane is right. Ryland was warning Chris and Shane. Don't cheat on him or else.
It sounds like you're trying to ask him how you killed him and how something in like the most non-incriminating way. How would you have killed him, but you did not kill him?
I think I'd
How
go to
did you
jail.
not
I'd kill
kill
Shane
him?
for that.
Okay,
Hold up. You've been talking about offing Shane one too many times for my liking, Ryland. And no, it's not a joke. Last episode, I played this clip from Shane's main channel.
How many years we've been engaged? 3. Coming up here. We're gonna be married by common law before we get married.
Do you have a knife in your back pocket?
Yeah, just in case you won't marry me.
I gave Ryland the benefit of the doubt and said he was joking, just trying to ad-lib for the video. However, I can't extend the same courtesy in this situation. These guys are having a serious discussion on relationships, and Ryland, without any hint of humor, is repeatedly stating that the consequences for cheating is death. Not in America, Ryland. Threatening a partner with death for having an affair doesn't stop a cheater from cheating anyway. And you saying you're willing to go to jail for that crime, believe me when I tell you, Ryland, I'ma make sure to make a compilation of all your threats so when the cops charge you, it's gonna be for first degree.
so you didn't kill him, obviously, right?
No.
But so
Okay, why did he admit after that long?
I don't know.
Cheaters don't usually confess unless they're caught red-handed. So either maybe this was his first time cheating and he was consumed with guilt, so he confessed, or he wanted to give you a reason to break up with him.
I really don't.
how
know,
did you take it?
actually.
What was the moment like? He said, "Sit down," and
my
yeah, I
God.
did it.
In a way, it was like a huge relief. In a way.
Yeah, like because you and at that point were like, did my body create chlamydia? Like, am I like an anomaly who creates diseases?
Well, I just thought, like, again, like toilet seats, this, shared drinks. I don't know. I just thought, like, all these insane things. I'm like, maybe it was this, maybe it was that, maybe.
Did you think it was me at any point in my toilet seat?
No.
Okay, good.
But
You see that right there? Chris.
no, but it was just really hard. And then and it didn't get better even after that. I didn't leave right then, which I should have, but I didn't.
Let me guess. It didn't get better because instead of breaking up with your cheating boyfriend, you decided to play prison warden because you didn't trust him anymore. And you were on his case every day, looking over everything he was doing. He would always have to check in with you. You guys, once trust is gone, just end the relationship. Why torture yourself?
By the way, I was the one who was broken up with to make it worse. But
Oh wow.
That makes sense why he confessed. He didn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore and he just wanted you to break up with him. Can you imagine your partner cheated on you? And instead of leaving him, you want to work on the relationship and then in the end, they just leave you anyway.
Later on, too, months later.
And do you feel like at this point you're able to be like comfortable saying you're past it to a degree, or like where are you at now in the process? How long ago? Well, you don't have to say how long ago it was.
He talks about his past relationships a lot. I don't think he's at all over it.
If someone came up to you and started explaining to you a very similar scenario to what you went through, what kind of advice would you give that person to help them can start to move on.
I don't think I have great advice other than in the moment it was the most painful thing ever and I felt like my life was over and I genuinely considered taking my life and it was, all the worst possible thoughts someone could have, I had. And I already like planned the rest of my life out together and I now couldn't imagine a future anymore. And so I hit that point, and like I guess the only thing I could say is it does get better eventually. And you just have to hang in there.
I think
I can tell you don't even believe what you're saying.
I think it's important to talk about this because I think what you experience, and not to be like, diagnosing somebody who I don't know, but to me, it sounds very similar to stories I've heard of people who are married to or been in long relationships with like sociopaths and narcissists, psychopaths, things like that.
Not everyone's a sociopath, Shane. Just because you had a fake ass therapist on your series that was whatever that got.
Sounds like he's a sociopath. If anyone is.
And those are all disorders. So I'm not trying to judge. If you're one of those, I'm not trying to judge you. But when you're in that manipulation cycle of the gaslighting, the excuses, the making your life so intertwined, the bank accounts, the this, the that. Like therapy, by the way, I learned this from a therapist who told me this. If you're in a relationship with a narcissist or somebody like that, couples therapy is actually a bad idea because that's where they learn what triggers you, how to what makes you happy, what this, what that. They're learning.
Yeah, Shane, because I've been thinking for a while now, that's what you do with your therapist. You're there to learn so that you can use it on other people.
So then they learn how to control you even more outside of therapy, which is really scary. So I'm happy you're away from that situation. I'm happy that I don't know that person. They're not in my life and they're not in your life anymore.
Yeah.
But what I will say is like, have you talked to your therapist about how to recover from being in a relationship with somebody like that? Or?
Well, we started to, but mainly because of financial reasons. And like, again, all my financial belongings were taken away from me, like everything. I came home to, like, after the breakup, I ended up getting the apartment back after fighting over it. That's a whole other thing. But I came home to an empty apartment. And so like this year has been me like slowly, I literally just got a TV again. And like, thanks to you, I had a couch, and thanks to, but I
Shane helped you furnish your apartment? Interesting.
All the money I had has been going to rebuilding my life this year. And so I can't afford therapy at the moment when I need it the most. So I haven't been able to talk to him about it. The moment I like figure out my life a little bit.
Do you have health insurance?
I do have health insurance. I pay so much out of pocket for it.
Which means Shane doesn't employ him. He's independent contractor. Okay.
You should look into it, man. Most health insurances will offer it.
Here's the thing, and I'll pay for your therapy, obviously. I pay you to be on the show. I don't want people to think I'm not paying you.
No,
but
you do, yeah.
What I will say is like...
So Shane is offering to pay for Chris's therapy. Wives, tell me this. Your husband tells you one day that his coworker got out of a bad relationship and she just moved to a new apartment and he helped buy her furniture and he's paying for her medical needs. Plus, he flirts with her from time to time. How would you take that?
That you need to make that a priority. I think it is important for you to deal with this.
Yeah.
And we have to figure out how to make that work because being in a relationship, getting out of a relationship like that, it takes a long time for your brain to adjust to like, oh, my life was not real. I was in a weird cycle with somebody who was controlling and manipulating a lot of situations. And then you look back and maybe you glamorize it and say like, oh, but they did this for me and this for me. It's like, well, yeah, they do nice things for you. They leave breadcrumbs to keep you coming, to keep you there.
They were such a nice person.
Exactly, Shane, because that's what you do to Ryland. Let me tell y'all something. When I watch the Shane Dawson podcast, okay, because that's what I watch, Shane is constantly insulting Ryland and he flirts with Chris without a care about Ryland's feelings. And from time to time when I go on Ryland's vlog channel, Shane is so lovey-dovey towards him. And it may be hard to reconcile the two, but Shane explained it right here. In order to treat Ryland the way he does, so disrespectfully, he has to be sweet there sometimes too. It's a cycle.
Lured in by the free chips and salsa, man.
It makes my stomach turn that they could keep that going for so long, making you internalize that you got chlamydia outside of them, knowing they had given it to you.
How else though is a bullet?
Can I ask also, like in your current relationship, the things you've dealt with in the past and previous relationships, how are you feeling in your current one? Like, are you feeling like you're bringing that baggage?
Yes, 100%.
And that's why I said in the last episode that Chris has no business being in a relationship right now. At least get into therapy or get some help because he's very fragile. He's too much in a fragile state right now.
And this person knows that, and they've been really nice and kind and patient with my craziness. But I feel really bad sometimes because my current boyfriend has done nothing to make me feel like I've been cheated on at all. They've been the most open, honest, almost too open and honest sometimes, but that's a different thing.
See, even Chris knows that the lies feel better. He liked when his cheating boyfriend lied to him, and this current boyfriend is telling him the truth, and he's saying he's too honest. The truth hurts more than the lie.
But yeah, there's definitely times where, like with the monkeypox thing earlier today, and I was like, oh, I got it from him because he cheated on me.
Yeah.
And it's so unfair to him.
He told this same story earlier in the episode. Listen to the details he gave the first time.
When I thought it was monkeypox, I was like, well, aren't they saying you get that from like intimate contact? I was cheated on again. I'm not gonna lie, my brain went there for a second.
No,
I like wanted to cry. But it's not that.
Did you confront him?
I said something I shouldn't have.
What did you say, Chris?
I called him and I was like, you didn't cheat on me, did you? And he was
Oh,
like, what? No.
The nerve. Can you all imagine your partner accusing you of cheating and you never did? All over an STD that this dude didn't even have. Destroying someone's peace of mind over an unconfirmed STD. Because you know what? The least Chris could have done was get a proper diagnosis before he's calling up his... So that's what happened. He talked to Shane about it, texted Shane the pictures, but called his boyfriend and accused him of cheating. No, Chris needs to figure things out because that's nonsense.
I mean, that's such a big trigger for you, though, like having had such a brutal experience previously.
Yeah, I mean, both my long-term relationships with people, the only two people I really trusted and gave my everything to in my life, cheated on me, both of them.
We understand how you feel. Like, it's understandable to feel that way after getting cheated on by your last two partners. We understand. But it's not fair to make your issues somebody else's problem.
So it's like, you know, these were both very long, several year long relationships, and I don't know, it's very hard to trust anyone.
And I think you are such a nice person, and I think you have a good heart, and I think you also maybe childhood stuff too, because I feel like I'm similar in that way where like I want to help people and I want to, you know, I open up too fast and all these things which are based on childhood issues, which are also toxic. Like I think a lot of people when they say like I'm too nice, like it's also bad to be too nice because it's selfish. It's like, I'm so nice and then I'm mad when you're not as nice as me. Like that's selfish for me to be like that. That's another thing I've learned in the last few years. But
Shane is preaching right now. I said the same thing, that Chris is nice and it's not good to be nice. I'm almost sure I said that in a couple of episodes before. And again, Shane knows because that's what Shane does. Shane is so nice. That's his thing. That's what all his friends talk about. Look at what Trisha and Lizzie said.
Not only make time for me, but also just, and, you know, even doing those thumbnails for me and just stupid shit like that you like don't have to do and you do it for me. It's like really cool.
Because Shane's a good man.
He's a great man.
Do you know that Shane literally texted me when I dropped my vlog? He's like, hey, you don't have to use it, but here's a better thumbnail. And he's like,
he
and
went
you
through,
don't...
he screenshotted us. Yeah,
he's super sweet.
God, I love him so much.
Yeah.
Right? So look, Shane does these things and they're so happy because, oh, Shane doesn't have to do all these nice things for me and he does it. But what happens after? He gets mad when it's not reciprocated. And that's why what Shane just said is coming from the heart because he knows that's what he does. And his therapist probably pointed it out to him so he knows the issue in why being nice is being selfish.
I think you might attract people who, not saying your current boyfriend, he sounds great, but you might attract people who you're almost like, you're attracting people who will hurt you and who will, you know, because you're looking for someone to manipulate you and somebody to kind of take control of your life and somebody to kind of do all these things for you and all these things. But people who want to do all that usually aren't the best people.
Yeah.
Preach.
But it doesn't sound like your current boyfriend is like that.
Well,
from what I've heard.
I mean, and you can tell me if this isn't something you're comfortable with, but doesn't he also know the feeling? Isn't that one of the things that you guys had bonded about?
Yeah, he had been cheated on as well, and that's something we bonded over.
Y'all know you don't have to bond over tragedy, right? He's bonding with his new boyfriend over cheating spouses. And then look at them, what they're arguing about. Cheating spouses.
And so at least he knows where you're coming from to an extent.
My ex said he was cheated on. He understood me on that level too, though.
Ay. You see, again, he's bringing up his old boyfriend to say why he's still cautious and suspicious of his new boyfriend. Again, if the trust isn't in a relationship, just end it. End it. Chris, you're going to drive this guy up the wall. He's probably going to do the same to you. You guys just accusing each other of cheating all the time. What is that?
Yikes. Well.
So it's tough. I mean, I am bringing totally unfair baggage into this relationship, and it's not fair to my boyfriend, and I apologize for it a lot, but I don't know.
Listen, do not be a Trisha Paytas. You know, the person who admits to all their toxicity and kind of laughs it off like it's not a big deal. Okay, you know what you're doing wrong, Chris. Work on it. And stop terrorizing your boyfriend with phantom diseases.
To your current boyfriend, okay? Because I wasn't around for this last situation. For your current boyfriend, if you do anything to hurt Chris, if I find out you did anything, I will not kill you. See, I got around it. I will not cut your dick off. See, got around it. I will make your life a living hell so that you want to cut your own dick off. And I say that 100% with all truth.
If you're miserable in a relationship,
nobody's afraid of you, Shane. Actually, right now, we're all afraid of Ryland. I'm telling you, I'm afraid of Ryland.
I mean, you never know how things evolve, but I would think if you're miserable in a relationship, if you love the person, you should do them the decency of calling it off before you do the actual act.
Yeah, Ryland. That's usually how a relationship works. You're in a relationship, things aren't working out, and then you break up. That's the norm, right? That's how it should be. That's the default. Again, someone who's like constantly cheating, they don't care about breaking off the relationship. Why? So once you can detect that someone is a cheater, like that's their lifestyle, that's what they like to do, break up with them and find someone who is not a cheater.
And the most frustrating, sorry, I don't want to, I feel like I'm taking way too much time with this.
I like that.
But in both relationships that cheated on me and my current relationship, I've always said, like, hey, I understand, like, we're human and things happen and people fall out of love and whatever. It's complicated. Life's complicated. Things happen. I understand that. I'm not stupid. And if at some point you fall for somebody else, you fall out of love with me, whatever it is, be honest with me.
Okay, let me break this all the way down. So, Chris, why would you ask a cheater to be honest with you? In order to be a cheater, you have to be dishonest. If not, it will defeat the purpose. Part of being a cheater is committing to lying to your partner every single day. The cheater wants to have his cake and eat it too. So why would he break up with his boyfriend when he can continue the relationship and do whatever he wants and be with whoever he wants in secret? Right? You have to look at what it takes to be a cheater and all the deception to realize once you know someone cheated on you, it's like a chronic thing. That's like a character trait. They're okay with lying to you constantly every single day. That's why you break up with them. Not so much the cheating, it's what it says about the person who does it. And I'm talking again chronically, like cheating, like a cheater. And right, Chris did say they were living together. Even more of an incentive for the cheater to keep Chris around. Chris was paying part of the bills. It made better sense to keep Chris paying the rent, and the cheater was out finding Chris's replacement. Because again, remember, Chris said that his boyfriend ended up breaking up with him. Yeah, because he had somebody else already that he was ready to start up a relationship with. He didn't need you anymore. So let me right now simplify a complicated situation. If you find out your boyfriend or girlfriend is cheating, break up with them. Problem solved.
Because, like, I'm someone who wants to be in a monogamous relationship. That's my thing. And if you don't want that with us anymore, that's fine. Like, that's life. It'll hurt. But, like, be honest with me, break up and move on.
Hurt less than being gaslit for months on end.
Yeah, and I feel like I can deal with that. It would be painful, so painful, but I can deal with that and still respect you in a way. Because, like, you know. But we had conversations like this, and they all agreed, like, yeah, of course, I'll break up before anything happens. Like, they swore, and we had an understanding, I thought.
All right. Let me think. Chris, instead of telling a new boyfriend to break up with you if they feel like they are going to cheat, why don't you tell yourself to break up with him if you found out he cheated? Because you're only telling the guy to break up with you before they cheat because you know you can't break up with them if they do cheat. So you're pleading with them ahead of time. You can only control your own behaviors. You can't control everybody else's.
Well, and that's what leads me to believe it's more in line with what Shane was alluding to, which is like no empathy.
These people are really great at, lying. Like they're really great at, these people are master manipulators. They're great at lying. They're made at telling you what you want to hear.
Off to it.
Yeah, they're great at, it's a long con. It's like, that's their show.
It's scary how much Shane is on the money. Y'all listen to Shane. He's an expert on the subject.
Right? And also another thing to do with those types of people is once in therapy, you get past it and stuff, you'll stop thinking about like, when is karma going to get them? When are they going to get their comeuppance? When is whatever? Because their karma is that they're never happy, ever.
They're living
their
miserably.
whole lives is unhappiness, unfulfilled, and like hurting other people because they want to feel something.
I understand what Shane is getting at, but I don't subscribe to that line of thinking, saying these people will get their comeuppance. Not necessarily. Manipulative people do well in life. Not every bad person has a downfall. The secret is once you finish dealing with these toxic people, stop caring afterward. If your partner hurt you in a relationship and you end it, you shouldn't be waiting for their downfall because you should be too busy living your life and moving forward. Stop obsessing on people who've already proven to you that they don't like you. Stop internet stalking them. Stop keeping tabs on their whereabouts. Stop wondering whether they're in a new relationship or not. Just stop it.
That's so sad. And you were the opposite of that. So you're so lucky. But yes, therapy and also making sure the current boyfriend isn't a psycho, which, if you want me to meet him, I'll look in his eyes and I'll do a test.
Oh, let Shane give that test. It takes one to know one.
Well,
if you want,
oh my God, I did meet him once. I need to look a little closer.
All right, let's see what Jared has to say about this situation.
And then Chris, or to anyone that this might, if you find yourself in a similar situation to Chris, I'm going to give you harsh advice.
Uh-oh.
If you went through any kind of program or rehabilitation, it's also recommended. It might not be the best thing for you to be in this level of a committed and serious relationship.
Jared is right. Chris doesn't need to be up under a new guy right now. He's always going on about his long, serial, monogamous relationship, like for real. Can't you just chill for a sec alone? I can already tell he's scared to be alone because he doesn't want to deal with his own thoughts when there is silence. But again, Jared, you're doing good. Take it away.
Only because if you guys are both bringing baggage into it, you guys are damaging something that you're not able to put your full 100% happy selves in this relationship. So you could be tarnishing a beautiful relationship before it exists. For instance, and how to deal with that maybe is you guys obviously care about each other on a lot of ways, but maybe take a little bit of the pressure off of the relationship in certain ways. Give each other a little bit of space. And when I say a little bit of space, I don't mean because it's in a selfish way. I mean that give each other enough space to work on yourselves, because you're only getting the product that you're presenting to each other. And if you're able to up the quality of the product as individuals, the relationship even becomes better and you're not worrying about stuff.
Chris may be nodding his head, but he's not hearing Jared.
Because I've gone through shit in my past and worried about, the cheating and this and that and feeling these insecurities. But now I've gotten to a point where I don't think I'm going to get cheated on. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't. And if it happens, it's going to happen. And, then obviously it's not meant to be. And I can't say how I would feel about it, but.
Look at that. Jared is a married man and he has the right kind of attitude. Hey, Ryland, you notice Jared didn't say, if my wife cheated on me, I'd off her. I'm telling you all, prepare for the worst and hope for the best. If you're in a relationship, there is a chance you may get cheated on. I don't say this to make you paranoid. I say this so that you can be at peace with something happening you have no control over. Of course, there will be heartache and the like, I understand. But I'm not gonna have you sitting in the back of a police car beside Ryland because of a so-called crime of passion.
It might be a good idea to look at different options of how to treat this relationship while you guys heal, because you're going to take it out on each other if you go through a moment. It's not going to be like, you might be there for each other sometimes, but inevitably you'll take it out on each other, and they'll start to be part of the history of this becoming a pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And that sounds like,
Mm-hmm. And that's what you don't want, Chris.
Real blunt or real whatever. But if you truly love this person, modifying the relationship to allow you guys' self-time to be better as individuals is only going to better it, you know? So it's like, it's not a thing like, oh, I don't think you should be with him. I think you should, but I think you should really look at how to make it the best possible quality of a relationship. You know what I mean?
No. I mean, we both definitely want to work on ourselves. And I'm definitely need.
But it's hard to work
more.
It's hard to work on yourselves because you guys give each other opportunities to work on each other for each other, and that takes away from the time you could work on yourselves.
Well, I would say you're in a good place too because you live far, so you guys don't live together.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's great to hear. The last thing you want to do is put yourself in a situation where it's hard to leave a relationship because you don't have your own place. So I'm glad that Chris learned from his past.
So it's going to be hard because maybe don't, talk as much, but then when you see each other, once a week or whenever it is, it's going to be so exciting, so fun. You could talk about the things you've learned, the things you've grown, the things you've changed about yourself. Like, oh, what did you do? Oh, I learned this in therapy. Like, it'll probably bring you guys even closer because then you guys are bringing your full selves to the relationship. And that's so much more beautiful than like bringing a broken self,
Yeah.
And you don't want that to become the pattern of the relationship. You want to open it up to more opportunities.
Let's shine a light onto what's going on here. Do you notice that Shane and Jared are doing a lot of talking, trying to steer Chris in a direction of spending less time with his boyfriend and more time working on himself? What kind of advice do you think Ryland will give Chris? Do you think he will agree that Chris should spend less time with his boyfriend and get space? Or do you believe Ryland will suggest Chris should continue as is with his boyfriend? If you've been paying attention, the answer will come as no surprise.
I mean,
like more experiences together.
I hear what both of you are saying, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah,
like if you're in the new stages of a relationship.
But that's anything.
So Jared cuts Ryland off, but we can already see Ryland was pretty much saying it's impossible for Chris to spend time away from a new boyfriend. Again, this episode took place 3 months before the surprise wedding. So right here, Ryland did not know he was going to be married. And with how close Shane and Chris had become, as we've been watching, it would serve him better to have Chris in a committed relationship than to have a single Chris sleeping over at the Colorado house. We've already established by watching this series that Ryland goes to bed early and Shane stays up most of the night. Ryland can't keep a watchful eye on those two all the time.
I think that's like getting in shape is easier said than done.
I mean, I've been in long relationships where we both knew that we probably needed to end it, but we felt like family. And it was like, well, I can't end this relationship because you're my family. You're my whole world. We have a dog. We have all these things. And like, but I'm not happy. You're not happy. We know we're not happy. We've talked about not being happy and we hope it'll just get better. But the truth is, this is probably not the right relationship. And it was horrible and hard. And it took a year to break up with this person. It took a year, literally, of on and off and moving in and moving out and all these things. And now I look and it's like that person is married and happy. I'm getting married and happy. We both have love for each other. I'm like, thank God.
The craziest part is that what we talked about is like 1% of everything that happened.
Yeah.
Like there's so much more to the story.
Yeah.
The reason why there's so much more to this story is because Chris did not end his relationships. His boyfriends had to end it for him. I don't know. Sometimes people can't take a hint. Don't make a relationship a long and complicated story when it should have just been a pamphlet. Now back to the January 2023 wedding between Shane Dawson and Ryland Adams. The new episodes of the podcast is going to be amazing to watch because we are going to analyze if there are any changes in the dynamics of this podcast. I think the new episodes can go one of two ways. In scenario 1, on the new episodes starting after the marriage, scenario 1 is everything stays the same. The podcast will continue going on with Shane flirting with Chris and Chris flirting back and Ryland protesting to deaf ears. I highly doubt scenario 1 will happen. But let's get into scenario number 2. The podcast comes back and Shane stops flirting with Chris. No more I love you jokes. Ryland, as the husband, will be more vocal and cut out any hint of disrespect coming from Shane or Chris. And Chris will look as though he's happy with the new marriage. But underneath it all, if we pay close attention, we will see that he's upset. I think scenario 2 will happen. Because imagine if Shane stops cold turkey flirting with Chris. The love bombing suddenly stops. Chris will have to have some kind of negative reaction. Oh, and that fashion update song, there's no way Ryland will let it continue. They will have to at least add Ryland's name or something because that's disrespect. There's no way Ryland will let that fly as a husband. Because remember, Ryland is not playing y'all, and he tells us one more time.
Ryland reveals he will indeed kill Shane if Shane cheats on him, gives him chlamydia, and is a gaslighting asshole. And I can confirm I will kill him.
Yikes.
Ooh. Okay.
Okay, on a lighter note.